Welcome to part 3 of the penny sock.
Now, what does this say? Reset row counter. Knit even for 40 rows, blah, 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 blah. What did I miss? Turn heel. Ripper is circular. Transfer tool. End stitches, end stitches. Yes, we're knitting even for 40 rows. Drop ribber down and remove ribber stitches onto stitch holders or scrap yarn. Transfer every other stitch from main bed to ribber, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we're in the final stretch. So 40 rows. Let's go. Going slow. Looks good. Everybody's still knitting. Almost. This heel is going to be the death of me. Okay. End stitches or end stitches. I'm going to drop this down just a little bit. And I'm going to push the heel down. I'm going to grab it with this claw weight. Okay, that looks good. Okay, 2 more. Looks good. Okay, we're going to continue. Going to move them up. Just the edge ones. We're not moving any other middle ones. Okay, so now we're at 40. I don't know what your machine does, but if I remove my ribber stitches on a stitch holder, I lose them all. So I'm going to park my yarn and I'm going to introduce my waste yarn, and I'm going to remove the whole thing on waste yarn and then come back and pick it up. I hope that makes sense. I think that is the safer thing to do. That gives you a lifeline if your yarn drops or anything wonky happens, which, as we know, can happen in an instant, especially when knitting. So, thread my needle here, put between the beds. Clip it. Thread it. Take a deep breath. And now we are going to do at least 20 rows of waste yarn. And the last few rows of the waste yarn, we're going to do it super tight. One of the other things we're going to do is we're going to leave ourselves a loop on the middle and on the end so that we can snip it. So here, we're going to come up between the beds. We're going to grab a loop. We're going to clip it. We're going to hold it in the clip. We're going to knit across. Okay, we're going to repeat. Come up between the beds, grab the waste yarn, and we're going to clip it. And then we're going to hold it. Okay, now we're just going to knit regularly. Another 40 rows. Lifting it up, lifting it up. Not only do those loops mark our edges, those loops you can cut and then you can remove your waste yarn way faster. Okay, for the last 10 rows, decrease your tension to 2-2, knit another 10 rounds. Okay, last ones, tension 8 and tension 8, knit 1 round. 1, 2. Now you're going to snip your waste yarn. And now you're going to latch tool off your main bed. And then you're going to latch tool off your ribber. Make sure that you are going the same direction. The right direction. So that you end up on this side when you are all done. Scary? Yes. Okay. Bring them forward. Take a deep breath. And I'm going to latch tool it off camera so that if I lose anything, I'm not crying on camera. As I predicted, I accidentally dropped stitch 18 and I just struggled a little bit to get it back. I'm putting all the tools in my trade back away. Transferring back to 18. Okay. Lifting. Now I'm going to transfer all of the ribber stitches up so I can latch tool them off without struggling. I'm going to open the latches. The reason why we did tension 2-2 was to prevent the work from running, which appears to have done its job because we only lost part of stitch 18 and I was able to recover it. So I'm going to finish transferring these stitches upward and then I'm going to latch tool them off going to the left side. Okay, let's take a moment to look at this before we hang it back up. So we have our nice little toe. We have our nice little heel. And we have the start of the top part. Now it says that I need 108 rows for the cuff. No. No, I'm not making, you know, thigh-high leggings here. I'm going to do 14 rows. Because to me, that's a good enough sock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip my cuff over. And I'm going to rehang the first side, knit 14 rows of ribbing, cast it off, and then knit the, hang the next side, cast it off. I will make sure that I have yarn tails on either side for the seaming. And so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to pause this and get this hung back up. My first order of business is to take my little yarn tails and put them on the inside so that I know where to start and where to stop. You know what? No, I'm going to cut this yarn and then I'll start fresh. So I'm going to cut myself enough of a yarn tail to seam it. And we'll start fresh. That is an interesting problem to have. Cool beans. Going out from behind. Set this one on the second one. So if you do have to cut your yarn, then feel free to change your yarn color so that you have a color variety in your project. It might be cool. Try and make sure that your waste yarn doesn't get tangled up on your ribber, especially on the gate pegs. Now remember, I started this one just one in, just in case I screwed up. And it looks like I actually started it correctly. So it's okay that this is off a little bit. Not a big deal. Put that one back. Now what I can do is I can brush and join this to the to the yarn if I want to. It's my choice. Another thing I could have done is put a rubber comb on it now. Well, before now. But I think I would have struggled more to get the stitches onto the needles. So I'm just pulling this down and out of the way. Okay. Just takes a little bit of pressure off. I'm going to leave that up there. Up again. Oh, sorry about my head being in the way there. Now we're going to take a few seconds and we're going to transfer every second stitch onto the ribber. And then we'll introduce our ribber comb. Don't forget that our carriages are currently in 8 and 8. We need to make sure they go back down to 3 and 3. Or as low as 2 and 2. If you are not using a proper sock yarn with nylon infused in it, then now's the time to get yourself some elastic cord. Going to pull down the heel here. Okay, before you continue, make sure that you put the needles that you're not using out of work. Lower your ribber 1 notch. Or 2. Grab your little ribber comb. Mine is currently hiding. All right. Coming in from underneath, bypassing all the nonsense. Popping it up on top of the needle butts, not interfering in their loops, which it's currently trying to do. Okay, looking pretty good. Not caught anywhere. I'm going to use 2 small barrel weights. Untangle my yarn, disconnect my ribber, and reintroduce my yarn into my carriage. All right, I'm going to join my yarn back together, and then we'll come back and we'll finish this. Okay, we're back. So we're going down to 2, 2. Instead of what it says here, which is 3, 0. Does it say 3, 0? Tension 3, 0, slide 1 on Brother River. Well, I'm doing tension 2, 2. Because that's what I have been doing. So reset our row counter. 14 rows of ribbing. Make sure you pull that down a little bit. We're knitting both sides because it's ribbing. We're going to go slow for the first row because it may be a little tricky. Okay. And 14. Now we're going to transfer upward. If you did a latch tool cast off right now, you would be very, very sad. Because if you latch tool, it'll be way too tight. I'm not sure what these instructions are for casting this off. I will post them on Facebook and see if somebody can't demonstrate it for me. In the meantime, I'm just going to backstitch because I know it works and it's stretchy. So lowering, bringing forward, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Cut it, find your favorite needle and backstitch, and then we'll come back and we'll do the other side. I guess I haven't actually showed you guys backstitching very much. So we go in behind, well, into the next stitch, and then we turn our needle and we come in behind the previous stitch. And try not to get everything tangled. So again, going into the next stitch, bending, coming back through the previous stitch. And we chain along. It is stretchy and secure. As long as you do the same on both sides, you will be fine. It would be cool if I could get this sock yarn to match both sides, but I don't think that's going to happen. There's just so much color variation in this yarn that it's just going to be unique. So this is what I'm doing for 36 stitches. One step forward, one step back. we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, so I just took this off the machine. You can see it's nice and stretchy. I'm now going to release this. And then we're going to do the next side.
If you guess this is to be continued, you are correct.